I'm Matthew.
I'm Marty.
I'm Carlos.
And we are the Heroes 3. Welcome to Heroes 3, the bi-weekly podcast where three friends explore the best, worst, and everything in between in the world of Asian cinema. And this week we're taking a look at the 1995 Corey Yuen film, My Father is a Hero, also known as The Enforcer in the United States, and I think the UK. And this is starring Jet Li, Anita Mui, who we've not seen on the podcast in a hot second, and star of last week's episodes of Furious, little Xie Miao, who was 10 years old whenever they filmed this. And he's amazing in it. He's so good. I was very, very stoked to see that after we talked a little bit about it last week. But yeah, Carlos, this was another one of your picks. So tell me the idea behind this.
Yeah, just having fun with our conversation from last episode. And I thought it'd be really great to take a look at this film. And yeah, you're seeing a rising star. He had a handful of films as a young child. He kind of put movies in the back seat and then reemerged as an adult. And what we're seeing here is also, one of our favorites, Corey Yuen. He's handling the action. He's directing the film, and Yun Tak also is handling action here. And as we're talking about the movie, we're gonna get into some craziness regarding the plot, and that's because Wong Jing is also in the mix.
Yeah. When I saw that in the credits, I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah,
but it's a really cool mix because it's supposedly Wong Jing's like story concept, and then the script is by Sandy Shaw, who was quite hot at this point in time. She had written a couple of Stephen Chow films, including Justice My Foot, which also had Anita Mui in it.
Oh yeah.
And I think we get a nice like, sort of softening, but for better or worse, and it might be your favorite thing in the world, you still will have traces of unmistakable Wong Jing, craziness.
Yeah, and I guess before we start talking about the movie, I just really, it's like a conversation. We talked about like the flow of choreography, and we mentioned how crazy the choreography in The Furious was, and I think there's a lot of people talking about in The Furious how it's like, wow, we haven't seen anything like this in so long, and these guys are and we've said it too, they're pushing themselves to the limit, and I think the thing that people should remember is that we used to live in a time where this was always the case, and we were so blessed to see this in countless films. And this is a great example of that. Jet Li in the 90s, he had a decade run of just hit after hit after hit of action. Fist of Legend, I believe, is just the year before this, and
still some traces of that haircut, it seems like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
very square.
And that's not even the squarest haircut in this film.
No, it is not. No.
Speaking of that, though, like Iron Monkey.
Exactly. The Iron Monkey flat top.
Rico's going crazy in the background. He's really excited for this movie too.
Oh, Rico, don't watch this movie.
No, don't watch.
Yeah. Oh man,
don't bring your dog.
Maybe that's why he's barking.
Maybe, yeah.
But like Iron Monkey's right around this time, and we've got Anita Mui in this film, and not months before this was Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah, I love where you're heading with this because I don't know, I was just trying to dig into 1995 Hong Kong productions, and actually, if you just sort of survey the Hong Kong Film Awards nominees the following year, I don't know, I found it to be like a really bittersweet snapshot because you kind of have the sense, if we rewind all the way back to whenever it is that we talked about Super Cop, you might remember, anyone that's a fan of that film, that it closes with Jackie and Michelle's characters sort of basically trying to have kind of an optimistic take on the unification of China and Hong Kong, which they knew was several years in front of them. And I don't know, there's something about seeing this slate of 95 films where, I don't know, with the benefit of, your future perspective or whatever, you almost want to like send a message back. But maybe that would have ruined it, because it seems like all of these, shining lights of Hong Kong film production don't seem to have a sense that in a very short amount of time, people are going to scatter to the winds. This is not going to be the status quo anymore. And I'm not sure that people would, let's say, pluck out My Father is a Hero as an example of great, let's say, like gun fu of the 90s, but it absolutely includes stretches like that. And to your point, Carlos, this is just what you used to get on a Thursday, basically. To bring in some perspective, like you were saying, Rumble in the Bronx, also 1995, that ended up winning the choreography award that year. But Jackie and Samo were also up for Thunderbolt that year. You have, Wong Kar-wai's Fallen Angels was very big, and actually both Chinese Odysseys were up that year. So,
man,
really, all corners of Hong Kong movie making were just operating at full steam.
An embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. And actually, Roy Chow won for a dramatic acting role that year. So, you just felt like you still had so many heroes of the business that were really just producing great work. And, not that needs to be viewed in kind of like a somber, dark way. We probably should instead just sort of like celebrate everything that we got for each of those years. But I think tying that into, I think how The Furious or any kind of martial arts movie going forward is going to be received. That absolutely is part of the context that these things are kind of endangered almost, and we probably should be, as fair as possible and seeing them kind of in that setting, which is hopefully we can point folks to just this great tradition of movies if they might not be aware of it. But hopefully also those of us that are pretty deep into that kind of tradition can appreciate, just what it means to get these rare flashes nowadays.
Yeah. And regarding this film specifically, I feel like people aren't going to reach for it immediately, but I think what puts this film on the map was Xie Miao's character, having this, kind of, it could almost be a dual lead with Jet Li and him.
For sure.
If they were to flesh out some ideas more, you would get more of a one-to-one of a story with the kid and the father. But seeing these action sequences with a young child, and not just one, but multiple young action performers, puts this movie in its own little kind of spot. And around this time, actually, over the years, I've had in the back of my head an arc of like Hong Kong action starring kids, and this was one of the films that I would have brought to an arc of episodes like that. There's also, I don't know if you guys have seen the like Shaolin Popeye movies.
Oh yeah.
I've got a couple of those, and that's starring another kid, and that's more on what you would expect, like a kid's Hong Kong action. It's like there's more gags. Actually, Ng Man Tat is in at least one of those, if I remember right. Yeah, so there's a lot of goofy hijinks and maybe, like Dragon Ball type gags in the movie.
Right.
Where there's a kid causing trouble. But yeah, I think that having him in this film alongside his dad, and also we should say too that it's more of a dramatic film, I guess, in the narrative. And actually, there's an interview with Wong Jing talking about it, and I'm pretty sure this is probably from the Hong Kong Legends release, but he's saying that originally it was just a drama. There wasn't really action in the film, and then he kind of injected the action and put the right people in place to make it more of an action focused film. But you get moments here where it's just leaning in on the drama of it all.
And it seems like the juicy kind of, or the hooky part of the premise, at least at this point in time, is that it's a story about poor mainland Chinese folks having some kind of interaction with Hong Kong. And that also ties a little bit to some of what I was maybe saying about Super Cop, where you started to see a lot of Hong Kong cinema start to grapple kind of out in the open with their neighbors to the north. Yeah, I don't know. I think it ends up kind of marking this movie at that point in time in a really nice way. Also get an interesting example. We counted this a few times where even in the Cantonese dub, there's some attempt to kind of depict the Mandarin in certain moments to try to kind of like emphasize some of the culture clash. And yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, I've had, I mean, not a long dedicated history with this movie, but I definitely seen it back in the day. And yeah, revisiting it was a good time for this episode. But yeah, Matthew, is this something that you'd known about? Have you seen this before?
No, I was not familiar with this one at all.
Yeah.
It's funny, we talked about Jet Li forever ago on the show, but he really was like such a huge presence in Hong Kong stuff in the 90s, and it feels kind of like whenever you dive into some of our other, bigger guys like Jackie or Yuen Bu, you find like all of these movies where they're, even though they're not the big tentpole things, they still are really good.
Mm.
Like they still have lots of bits in it that are just stand out as great action pieces. And this movie also, like a lot of our my favorites, so we've done on the show, it has some really wacky stuff mixed in with a lot of very deep drama. Because this ultimately is a story about like a boy getting separated from his father and his mother dying and being kidnapped and like all this kind of dark stuff mixed in with like wacky. He gets used as like a, I don't know you would call it, but like he gets whipped around on a rope as a weapon with his father later in the movie. He does like he teams up to fight goons with Anita Mui's character, and it's, I don't know, it's all the stuff that I think we love in Hong Kong movies, where it's like this, it feels like there's lots of different tones all coming at the same time. And it also is just such like an action movie with the slow-mo, like the bad, what's it called, where it's like it wasn't shot in slow-mo, but they play it back in slow-mo. Yeah, there's the step printing with some of the, like the car crashes. There's like lots of gunfights and evil white guys and fancy rich people that are evil. It's everything that I really love in our genre of choice. And of course, it was amazing watching this after seeing The Furious last week and seeing, oh yeah, Xie Miao was amazing as a kid too. And it's funny how similar he looks as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be like we're disparaging The Furious at all. I mean,
no.
But that being said, I was like, I feel like he's more charismatic in this movie than he is, and that could be also because of the framework of him being a mute in The Furious.
Think it is, yeah.
But it is pretty funny to watch these films in comparison because he gives you every emotion in this movie, and he's just a kid,
Absolutely. And yeah, the camera is just sort of fascinated with him, and I think that's still true. That's still true today. Gosh, yeah, I love how you put all that, Matthew. I think you're totally right about this encapsulating so much of what we love and know well about Hong Kong filmmaking. We were also talking a little bit before we started rolling that I think Matthew and I were watching a version with kind of like a older, probably like Mei-Ah era kind of subtitle. And it probably shouldn't be the case, but that just, I don't know, it was like comfort food to me because it's that used to also just be part of the experience as you were, trying to engage with Hong Kong movies here in the West, where, you're running into some really spotty translations and, kind of similar to maybe how we might feel about some classic English dubs. You kind of evolve into this weird creature where like that's part of it for you too. And I don't know. So this really hit the spot, and I was finding myself really actually kind of appreciating a lot of, I don't know, a lot of aspects of The Furious after watching this, and maybe some of that just has to do with it's like what's the Snickers campaign when you're like you're really angry and you're like Joe Pesci until you have the Snickers or whatever.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah, I mean I'm exaggerating. It's not exactly like that, but when you're getting your fill in some of these action sequences from, like we've been saying, a film that isn't necessarily earmarked as, the best of the best, and yet you can bump into a sequence that is like so brilliantly executed and composed in the camera, and you kind of just can't believe it. But then you are also going to be following like a little kid crying about his dying mom and getting beat up by bullies, and it's funny when it's supposed to be funny, and it's sad when it's supposed to be sad. Yeah. Also, I got to say that there was, I think, this kind of bittersweet thing hanging over the movie for me. It still feels really fresh that we lost Corey, and I see the year on the calendar, but honestly, Anita Mui's death still feels really fresh to me for some reason. It's like, I don't know, and it might be like what we encounter with a lot of other film stars where they're just gone too soon. It's sort of, you never really quite get over that. And I just love Anita, and I know we've had opportunities to talk about her before. And I mean, she also had a busy year in 1995. Is also an important part of Rumble in the Bronx. But yeah, I think she just brings so much to this movie, and her dynamic with Jet and what they can and can't say to each other, I think is just this perfect platform for their acting, their just kind of unique acting talent. And I don't know if we talk about Jet Li in that kind of context all that much, probably because he's overshadowed by just some of the most impeccable martial arts performance that we've ever had in movies. But it isn't just that the camera finds him really interesting. I don't know. I think he really pulls off this part. We don't run into Jet Li all that often, at least so far on the podcast, in kind of a contemporary setting, and also like contemporary with like a little bit of an air of scumbag. It turns out he's kind of posing as a scumbag, but still, it's I think on paper it's a bit of a stretch maybe for Jet, and I think he just pulls it off so well. And yeah, this kind of dynamic with he and Anita is, I don't know, I think really special. Great casting in this film. I've heard over the years some people complaining about our boy Iron Monkey as the heavy. I think it's just delicious. I think it's so.
Oh yeah, he's
so great,
chewing up the scenery.
He's literally a cartoon villain,
and the best flat top ever. I mean, it's like up there with like a Dick Tracy flat top, basically.
It's the whole thing for me.
So
it's
good.
These, slightly exaggerated sunglasses that he's wearing all the time. He never takes them off. It's the flat top. He's wearing like these Mickey Mouse gloves the whole time also. Yeah. And he's got
I didn't recognize him when I started the movie, and when I looked up later, I was like, oh, he's Iron Monkey. Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a costume, that trench coat, which actually, kind of plays a part in his fighting style in a way.
Yeah.
It is really fun. I think he's awesome. And not just that, but like his physical acting, he's always like tilting his head like, like almost he's like totally a reptile. And I think it really works.
He's taking a big swing, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a huge swing. I have to go back to what you mentioned about that Snickers bit. Yeah. And I can't but help think about a Heroes 3 version where Marty is the focus of this commercial, but before he has his Snickers, it's Dean Sheck.
Oh, dude, you're reading my mind. Definitely. As soon as you as soon as you went there, it's absolutely Dean Sheck.
Yep. But also
more than one mole. More,
yeah.
At least one
every time
mole.
It cuts back to you, the mole's in a different spot on your face.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, rubbing the chin so hard.
To mention Rumble again, though, I feel like we get what we wanted out of Anita in Rumble. We get that in this movie. Like we wanted to see her play more of an action bit and more of a central focus. And having these films come out close to each other, I think yeah, if you watch them both, you get kind of like the complete package of what you would want out of Anita in a film. And yeah, she's great. She lands on all the comedic bits when she has to. She lands on all the emotional, heavy bits when she has to, and even looks great in action too. You know, we haven't covered her that much, but she can perform as well. And yeah, it's really unfortunate that she's passed, and like around the same time is like I think her and Leslie Chung like passed away around the same time, so it's like another person that we haven't talked about too much on the podcast, but also just mesmerizing on camera when they're in a film. But yeah,
no, completely, and also
some great sweaters. She has some
my
great
gosh.
sweaters in this.
Yeah, just as good as that gets. Also, we round out the cast super well. We're talking about Yurong Guang and how delicious he is as this villain, but he is backed by like the freaking A-list of henchmen. So we've got Ken Lo. We also have, I believe, uncredited Colin Chow, who's like just as prominent. I'm not sure what the deal was there. And not to get ahead of ourselves, if you haven't seen this movie yet and you're thinking of those three names as henchmen together and you're wishing you could see them do something together, you will be extremely happy person. We'll get there.
We want to dive into the movie itself, I guess.
let's hit it.
First, let's take a look at the back of the VHS.
Gong Wei, a police officer for the People's Republic, tries to find the balance between work and family. His loving son Ku and his wife wait patiently and stay strong for each other. Wei's undercover work pulls him away to Hong Kong while also leaving a black mark on his family back home. Among the wolves, he dodges both sides of the law, but as they all close in, this battle is about to explode. Corey Yuen and Wong Jing bring you Jet Li, Xie Miao, and Anita Mui in My Father is a Hero.
So the overall plot of the movie is that Jet Li plays Kung Wei. I don't remember them. I guess they say Wei a lot, but he's an undercover cop who has a family in mainland China, and his son is Ku, played by Xie Miao, and he kind of has to, like, he kind of wants to get out of it, but if they drag him back in, classic stuff, and he has to go to Hong Kong to go undercover to try to catch this, like, what, I forgot exactly what he's doing. He's like a evil art dealer in bombs or something. I can't 100% remember.
Yeah, he's just doing illegal stuff.
He's just a crime guy. He does
smuggling
crime
goods.
stuff.
Yeah, but everything he does, he's trying to get his out of it. So no matter who he's making a deal with, he's gonna kind of betray them.
Yeah. But that is our main guy, who's played by Yurong Guang, who was Iron Monkey and Iron Monkey. But this leads to a long series of things where another cop in Hong Kong, Inspector Fong, played by Anita Mui, gets wrapped up in this and is like tries to figure out who Wei really is, because he seems to be with the criminals, but he saves her life at one point. They interact with each other. Ku gets kidnapped and brought into Hong Kong as well. And there's lots of series of different fight scenes and double crossings or whatever that leads to our kind of final confrontation in this cool kind of museum looking thing where they're doing like an art auction, where we face off against our final guys. We get some team ups with father and son, and then a bunch of stuff blows up. That's kind of long.
Actually, explosion count is pretty high in the movie.
I was excited to see there's a bit of budget in this. There's some good car crashes and explosions.
Dude, no, that was perfect summary.
Going back to the very beginning, he's the kind of opening set piece is Jet Li having to fight off a bunch of goons while just trying to see his son do like this martial arts exhibition.
Right. Yeah, there's
I was really glad he actually does get to see it. Like it wasn't him like coming in right after where he's like, oh yeah, there he is. Oh, I've got to fight more goons.
Dude, totally. Yeah, I mean, this is maybe one of the most stunning moments of the movie, and obviously like a really kind of genius way to kind of kick things off. You were mentioning budget, Matthew. I'm sure there's a lot of shrewd, like, taking advantage of, I don't know, events that are probably already ongoing. But we see an incredibly large group of child martial artists at what is presumably this like convention and this or competition in this arena. And yeah, I don't know, incredibly well synchronized. All those young performers we see on screen are amazing. And then we get not only a really well intercut action scene, like literally in the rafters of the building with Jet Li and these like bad guys, but we also get some beautifully composed shots that catch it all, and there's just a great sense of space and dimension. I don't know, everything we ever say when we're raving about Corey Yuen and the Seven Little Fortunes and this entire crop of generational talent. I mean, it's on display here. You have to imagine that this was shot, as quickly as possible, which still is going to be, days and days for a sequence like this. But what ends up on screen is so punchy, so strong. Also, really great use of doubles, I would say, throughout the film. You were mentioning earlier, Carlos, about how great Anita looks in the movie, and Corey Yuen is right up there with anyone else that we've praised for being able to take someone without a really strong martial arts background and really showcase them well, and that's happening often. And there's also great use of doubling for Anita's scenes, but also in just about every fight scene with Jet as well.
And Xie Miao.
That's not. There is a little child double, at least one.
Yeah.
And we could maybe guess where they might have plucked those kids from when watching the opening sequence. But I don't know. I think not to take too strong of a tangent here, but it seems like there's sometimes kind of a stereotype that doubling is this form of cheating and it's what happens when somebody can't cut it. And we've spoken about this in the past, but it's very much just a part of the art form. And
Totally.
So often it's a question of either specialty or just giving multiple people a go at something that is particularly hard that you're trying to get on schedule. And then also even though we might talk about Hong Kong productions as not being sort of as safe and kind of union friendly as Hollywood shows around the same time, you still really want to protect your marquee actors if and when you can. And so the very best to ever do it also are in sequences with really incredible use of doubling. And I don't know, it's something that as time goes on, I kind of enjoy. I just enjoy the art of doubling even more than I think I used to.
Yeah, I completely agree. And seeing them flip around on these scaffoldings, and there's a couple of amazing stunts where you literally see a guy fall from the scaffolding down to a crowd below. That's crazy that 7 minutes into the movie you're seeing one of the most dangerous stunts you're going to see throughout the whole film.
There's a lot of really good kind of subtle wire work too, which I'm sure some of that was for the falling into the crowd, but it's impressive to see all these things. I'm glad you mentioned about the doubles too, because there's a lot of talk around, not to keep picking on the Furious, but there's a lot of talk around how them not using doubles or whatever. I'm like, it's fine to use doubles. Jackie Chan used doubles. Right. They act like he didn't, but he did. But it's okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's true what you say, and I agree with you. But I think one of the reasons that they're doing that is just to kind of put that extra stamp of authenticity on the Furious.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Any normie that's not kind of whatever, they're like, wow, these guys are really
doesn't do a Hong Kong action podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's going to be an extra little thing to get somebody to go see it.
That's true.
And I totally, and they deserve it. If they didn't use doubles, I'd be telling everybody, no, that was me. I did that.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally, yeah.
Brian Lay's talking about sometimes he'd like get home and he'd have a bruise or a cut, and he's like, I don't even know where I got that, because they're just pushing themselves so hard while they're making the movie. And you love to hear stories like that. The other thing I wanted to mention about this arena is I actually love that when they have the demo with like 100 kids, they're giving them Foley work like in a fight scene.
Yeah.
So you're hearing like the sound effects of them moving in a way that you wouldn't normally expect, and that's really cute. As far as Xie Miao's doubling, I'm pretty sure it's mostly just the acrobatic stuff. So if you see him doing like a corkscrew or a flip, that's somebody else. Because they're really good about showing his face in some of the kind of fight stuff. So he had a background in like kind of wushu, I believe, and you can see that when he like lands on these kind of really nice poses that framed perfectly on camera. And I like that too, because very notably, Jet Li also came from wushu, came from professional martial arts, and he was like kind of like a hero of China because of that. And to see him kind of fighting in this arena at the beginning of the movie in his own way, while his quote unquote son is doing what he did in real life, is pretty fun to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, so the as the scene escalates, the son is pulled into the fight too. Like when that guy falls down to the crowd, it turns into almost a hostage situation, and Ku, the kid, he's like the hero of this event. Not only does he win like the tournament, but he also wins the hearts of everybody in the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they literally everyone cheers and lifts him up at the end.
It's awesome.
So that leads to kind of a very cute opening bit here, where we see the two of them at home, and they're like both brushing their teeth and synchronized, and then stay under the water after washing their faces for a long time.
What's super cute is a couple of years ago, they both recreated that shot. I think it was for like a charity.
Oh, cool!
Like a fundraising thing. So
that's really cute.
Yeah,
I love that they're still like buds, and they do interviews and stuff together.
Yeah. Like we mentioned in the last episode, definitely check out Jet Li and his daughter's YouTube channel, because they had a really great interview. I mean, a great round of interviews with a lot of folks from the Furious.
And this ends up paying off later, which I wasn't really expecting. So that's cool. It's a well thought out little sequence.
Yeah, for sure.
You're seeing the family here. It's Jet's character and his wife and the son. And Jet, you see he's like, I gotta go. Work's keeping me busy. So there's a lot of things that maybe he's missing. And even that initial sequence is him trying to make it to his son's tournament on time, and he leaves again, and he misses out on this award ceremony. But there's like a funny moment where he's like smoking. He like blows smoke right in the kid's face, and he's like, I promise I'll stop smoking. And you see like the relationship between them is really, really adorable. But you're starting,
and then he doesn't smoke the rest of the movie. He has like different stuff in his mouth, which I thought was very cute.
Yeah, it's nice. You also see that their mom is suffering from an illness. They don't really say what it is, but it's something that's gonna become more of a concern through the film. But as they're coming home, he's captured by the police. And it's a bit dramatic. They take him away without saying anything, and this becomes kind of a sore spot for the family, and all the little people and all the neighbors see what happens, and he's carted away. But you're finding out the real situation is that he's working undercover, and there's a situation where they are going to need him to leave to Hong Kong for a handful of months. I think they say like 3 months or something, because they want to track down this criminal who we're going to find out is Yu Rongguan's character. They set it up so he's got to be like in a jail cell with one of the gang members, and they'll break out, and they do. And the other guy in this cell is Blackie Ko, who we haven't mentioned in a very long time, but
Yeah, not for a while. And yeah, usually when we talk about him, he's kind of the mastermind behind car stunts.
Usually he's driving a motorcycle.
Yeah, and actually
I think we talked about him during Armor of God. I think we talked because
for sure. And then all the way back to Wheels on Meals, where he has kind of signature moment. But luckily he was able to kind of take a few days off from the car work, and I think Bruce Law was responsible for the car stunts in this movie. But Blackie Ko is great in this character. I mean, you kind of want to see him dig into some more acting parts, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And Bruce Law, I guess we'll dig into his work in a little bit, but just as notable when it comes to car stunts and all of this stuff. But yeah, so they escape, and we mentioned it a little while ago, but they like send the dogs to capture them. They're keeping it pretty real. They're making this seem like a true escape, and Jet Li has to like break the legs on some like puppet dogs.
I will say I do love how obviously puppety the dogs are, though.
Yeah. And I love
like if we know no dogs were actually harmed in this.
But yeah,
film.
if you're coming off of The Furious and you're like, oh, this is a little too tame, I need more bone breaking. Be careful what you wish for. This might be your fault, actually, because this is about like breaking the bones of the front paws of these dogs. Man, it's so,
I love how they're taking like those kind of action-y tropes where you're fighting a guy and then putting it to like dogs. He snaps the neck of a dog and then he breaks the legs. Oh man, it's hilarious.
It's very silly.
Yeah, yep. But yeah, they do escape. They make their way out of. Wasn't there like a moment where one of them gets like electrocuted on the fence?
Yeah,
totally. It's kind of a weird beat.
Hilarious. So before they do escape to Hong Kong, Wai talks to his son. He visits him. He says, I'm going to have to go for a while, but you got to take care of mom, and don't tell her what's going on because she's going to worry about me. And they have like kind of a short goodbye. But you also get the sense that Ku, the kid, he's pretty tough. He's, Blackie's character's like, hey, don't cry or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to cry. So he keeps he holds his resolve. So once they get into Hong Kong, he meets the gang. So him and Blackie, they meet Po, who we mentioned earlier, played by Yu Rongguan. And yeah, he looks amazing. And it's this crazy, it ratchets it up to 100 out of nowhere.
For sure.
As the gang leader, he's really threatening everybody. And once they meet, they're like on this rooftop, and
I love a Hong Kong rooftop.
Yeah.
We haven't seen one in a hot second.
Yeah, and they're playing on that roof. The first thing he does is like attack these guys, and he throws Blackie off the roof, and then Jet's character pulls him up, and this is where you see a little bit of this kind of, I don't know, trench coat foo.
Yeah, that's so well put.
He like attacks wearing the trench coat, but then Jet defends, and then he like pulls his arm in to like attack without the sleeve. It's like really weird, but it almost seems like a wuxia, kind of like a secret technique. And the way that they frame it too, it's that kind of slow-mo, notice the attack, kind of situation, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, so the situation here is that they're gonna make like a trade with some foreigners, and he's like basically putting it to his men like, hey, how are we gonna do this so we come out ahead? And Wai's like, well, we'll pretend we're robbers and we'll rob the place where you're making the trade. And he's like, oh really? Well, how's that gonna work? He's like, what if they shoot you? And he's like, well, they won't shoot me because we'll have a bomb. And he's like, okay, well, you're going to be the one wearing the bomb. So yeah, the next scene, you're seeing this go down. And I have to mention, I don't know how you guys felt about this like location, but this like, it's like a glass
Yeah.
bar kind of thing, and
like the waterfall thing.
so they show it at night first, and then the deal itself is actually, it's funny enough, it's like in broad daylight where they're doing this. But what I found out is that they actually made that whole building was made for this film.
Oh, cool.
Incredible.
And you see what happens to the building as this scene progresses, so it kind of makes sense. But apparently it was in an empty lot, and they built it, and it's fully featured. There's electricity, there's water feature, there's like this super late 80s, early 90s like architecture going on, and they're meeting some foreign dudes, and I didn't recognize everybody, but I did recognize one guy. There's like a blonde-haired mullet kind of guy, and this is Thorsten Nickel. I remember him from a couple of things, from Thunderbolt, Jackie Chan's Thunderbolt. But the thing that I always love to mention is that there's that Jackie Chan fighting game where they digitized everybody, like Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
He's one of the characters in that game.
Oh, cool.
Add this to the list of characters real people we've talked about in the podcast that have fighting game characters that you can play.
And honestly, this might be a first, now that I think about it, where you're introducing like this white fighter in an early reel, and he has nothing to do with the final fight, and he's not going to pop up later. And I don't know, kind of like that. Like we've said, this movie is not light on action, and there are a lot of great sequences. But for me, this is just the standout stretch of the movie. And I mean, I think it's tough to choose. The finale is incredible, but what Corey Yuen pulls off, and all the performers involved, I mean, I don't know. I think this is some of the 90s gunplay at the highest level. And it seems weird to say that in this movie that I think, if anything, has the reputation for like, oh, that's the one with the kid in it. But I don't know. I think if you just like clip out some of the beats of this sequence, just incredible choreography and shapes to camera, and I don't know, execution of some of this gunplay. And I don't know. I mean, I think it sets alongside In the Line of Duty 4 and some of the great work and Corey's Yes Madam, and I mean, just all that. She Shoots Straight. I mean, it just I think it probably should be in the conversation a little more often. Yeah, and the use of this space too. They basically created their own playground for this gunplay, and I love what you said. Yeah, the movie with the kid, but also the movie where Jet Li blasts a dude in the chest with a shotgun.
Oh man, that's a great bit of wire work. He just gets yanked back. Oh man, God, it's so good. Yep. Because it's almost like there's a glass slide that leads down to this pool.
Oh, dude, for real.
Mm-hmm.
And he cascades down it in the middle of this mess. Because we should also mention that a car drives right into it, and there's a crazy shot of them approaching the building, and Jet, still being a good guy, sees that they're gonna like hit a woman and child, and he pulls the steering wheel to the side. But there's a shot before that where it doesn't look like not more than 2 or 3 frames of a car at full speed approaching these two people. It looks very real to me. And that's amazing. The car smashes in there, and you've got these like slides down the glass of gunfire. You've got all these crazy guns too. There's a couple guns, I didn't look them up, but there's some crazy looking, almost sci-fi looking guns in the mix. Guys, smashing through the glass pane with these squibs too, where it's like, it's very bloody as well. And it turns into this, situation where there's the bomb in the mix, like we mentioned, and then like a cop just casually walks by, like, "Hey, what's going on?" So then, the police are involved.
That's a good bit of the subtitles. Is the person refers to it as a gun war going on the inside.
Nice. And we also should mention too is that Anita Moy's character, is with like her coworker, another detective, and they're just chilling at the bar when this breaks out. So that kind of pulls in another dynamic. And the bartender is Corey Yuen. We should mention that also.
Oh,
He's in
yeah.
a little
which
cameo.
is really great. But yeah, this turns into a hostage situation. He grabs the cop, and then Anita's character says, "Swap with me," and then he escapes in a police car. Yeah, so he's also, he's masked this whole time, but right when they're putting their masks on, you see that there's a guy just around, like, on the street that has a camera, and he takes a photo. So now, this is a wanted man, and she's on the case trying to find him.
Right.
Yeah, this leads to the first pretty big explosion that we see in this movie with this. It's interesting to know that this building was created for the movie because it gets completely obliterated.
They're like, "Don't worry, it's not gonna be there long." It's just blow up the whole thing. Yeah, it's so awesome.
Which leads to a car chase, and where our Anita Mui's character, Inspector Fong, gets to see that Jet Li is maybe not the bad guy that we think, because there's a great reaction shot where there's this guy like working on a telephone pole, kind of cowering in fear, and then Jet Li hops over to there. Anita tries to follow, and she falls, but he grabs onto her, and rescues her before making his escape.
Yep. And now
I love
she's
the sequence on the pole, and yeah, this is really where we kind of get, I don't know, maybe kind of like the second catalyst for the story in our film, which is like, Anita's character trying to trace down just who this guy is. Also, just he said about Jet's look, probably one of the most recognizable people that could wear a ski mask. I don't know what it is, but it's almost like you're still getting like 85% of his recognizable face or something.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I like that.
just like
There's
not hidden, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I like that. There's a funny little bit kind of focusing on that later in the movie, but for now we go back to his son, and we see that he's like collecting ants, which we'll get into. But now the kids are all picking on him because his dad's a criminal, and his buddy Fatty's defending him.
His buddy's he's a bro. Like he stands up for him a lot throughout this movie. Whenever they're throwing stuff at him, he like stands in the way. Fatty's the wingman everyone needs.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, but he gets a call from his dad, and he's like, "Dad, say it ain't so," and he's like, "I'll tell you everything like later on, but you can't tell anybody about our conversations. And here's my pager number," which is putting you smack dab in the mid 90s.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, the bullying kind of not too long after the bullying starts, it kind of leads to a big kid fight fight may be too strong of a word, where Xie Miao is now getting approached by all these guys, and he can't handle it any longer. And he just starts beating them up, and he has this towel that he uses like a nunchucks, and he's whipping it all around, doing these amazing aerials and kicks. It's amazing when they're all like these school uniforms
and legit choreography, and I mean really great performance from these kids. And again, we wouldn't be surprised if these might be some of the same performers we saw in the great opening. And I think this could kind of get at what I think is probably a pretty fair criticism of the film, is there's so much electricity when we're kind of tracking the kid's story. And it's not hard to kind of squint and picture a version of the movie that's really kind of centered around Xie Miao's character.
Yeah.
Now, in 1995, that seems just patently ridiculous. It's like you've got Jet Li and Anita Mui here. But there are just quite a lot of areas of the film that really seem to be like pulling us towards this movie that maybe could have been. And there's a lot to do with things tonally, like we've already talked about. Like if you're trying to, I don't know, bring all the kids out to the theater, you don't want to kill dogs usually. But
usually.
Yeah. Also, I think if that was more of the focus, I think what kind of happens in the final fight, which from what I understand has been pretty divisive for a lot of like kung fu fans, I think there's a chance that that actually lands really well, and basically the kind of growing power of a kind of our what would be our central kid character, I think would probably be a little bit more fulfilling. But there's a whole other point of view, which is like, dude, this is Hong Kong, and what makes it great is that it isn't one kind of movie, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're on kind of this rollicking ride, and you know, you can bring a kid to the theater, but they're gonna learn some shit.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
No, I really love that, and I always don't want to give Wong Jing too many compliments, but you know, he knows what to throw into a movie to keep you. If you're not like wow, you're like what, and that's
for
still
sure.
really fun too. And to speak to these child performers, they all look amazing. You know, they're wearing these school uniforms that are really iconic. They look like Adidas track suits, and they're blue, and they have these red kind of, I don't know, like a Boy Scout
Kerchiefs,
kind of kerchief looking thing, and it just makes all the action look amazing in this little corridor. There's like 4 kids fighting Xie Miao, and they do these wire work things that you would never expect. You know, in a Western, in any other country, there would be like, all right, kids got to fight. Just, you know, let them roll around or whatever. And, you know, in the end, the main kid will win, or the main kid will lose, and, you know, he'll have to tough it out later. But here they're like, no, we're going to fully choreograph this, and it's going to be some of the most dynamic fighting you're going to see in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And all these kids are hitting these poses perfectly. All these kids are executing in a way that you're like, dang, it's so fun. I would just watch a movie with all kids doing this stuff. It'd be so cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
He even does like the classic, like, grabbing onto a guy in the middle and then running around a circle around the people approaching him. Like it's a classic kung fu movie thing.
Yep.
And it's a bunch of kids. It rules.
And it lands on this awesome like Dutch angle of him doing like a split kick, like holding the bully to the wall.
Yeah. Holding against the wall. Yeah.
So good.
It's so good. It's awesome.
So this leads to Inspector Fong figures out that this kid is connected to Jet Li's character in some way and follows him back to his home. And there's a really, really sad shot where we see him like looking all moody and sad, but right before he goes inside, he like stretches out his face so that he can smile for his mom. Like, oh my God, that's so sad. But yeah, he goes in. Inspector Wong kind of like sets up this story for the mom, which is kind of funny. That like she's like, oh yeah, I sell like real horrible stuff with your husband to make ends meet or whatever.
Yeah, and I can speak to that a little bit because you guys mentioned the subtitles that you guys had. Weren't the best. And I've got the Eureka release, which was a UK release, but I've got a Blu-ray player that can play all the stuff, whatever. But so the subtitles are way better on that release, obviously. And there's a commentary track with Arnie Venema and Mike Leader, and they talk about this a little bit. And Anita Moy says something like, oh, I know your husband. We like sell porno tapes. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And then she says something like salted eggs, and she's like, no, like porno tapes. But I guess, and this is me parroting that, so forgive me if I missed some nuance. But I guess there's like a slang term for porno tapes that were like salted tapes, but that sounds close to salted eggs. And
gotcha.
The subtitles that you guys have kind of completely erase all of that.
Yeah,
right.
But
Yeah.
they do get the X-rated tapes right. and
Yeah.
she's going in on the comedy here too. She's saying like, "Oh yeah, we sell the human ones for this much, but the animal ones sell even
Yeah.
more."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Which is really
that's
funny.
funny.
Yeah, some of the more like overt Wong Jingness, and it also seems like spoken about a little bit already. I think some of Wong Jing's hook into the movie is it's like the oil and water of Hong Kong and especially like very poor mainlanders, and like that's part of the context of this too, is that she would not be in on this Cantonese slang.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's the opposite. Jet's going to the big city and she's going to mainland. I believe they're in like Peking, if I'm remembering right. But yeah, then you get this kind of funny beat that I had question marks about, where Ku brings in a bowl for his mother of her medicine, and you see that it's these ants that he was collecting. And I was like, oh, what? But yeah, apparently there's like a medicinal value to these like Chinese black ants. I looked it up a little bit, and sometimes people use ants as medicine to eat. So she's enjoying some ant soup.
But this is also kind of one of the gags, because it's basically the Hong Kong audience is also supposed to find this weird, and like a little bit backwards.
And Fong's kind of the insert there for that.
Exactly, yeah.
Honestly, given some of the traditional Chinese medicine we've seen in these movies, eating soup of ants isn't that weird.
Yeah.
No chicken blood is involved in this.
Yeah, and then to speak on like the kind of jarring shift in tone, it's immediately followed up by this emotional beat where he brings out a letter that he says is from his dad, and he's reading this letter like, everything's gonna be okay, I'm doing this and that. But Fong sees that there's nothing written on the letter. He's just doing this performatively for his mom, which is super sweet and sad.
But that kind of leads to Fong kind of becoming his auntie, and like there's a little montage of the two of them like getting to know each other, doing laundry and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a really fun beat there where they're kind of going back and forth, and he's saying like, "Oh, only my mom's pretty, you're not pretty," and there's this little fun back and forth. But a little earlier, there's a joke when Jet's character is meeting his family up, and the mom says, "We don't have a family photo." And here we see the scene where Fong saying like, "Oh yeah, I saw this in your family photo," and then Ku says to himself, "You're bluffing. I know you're lying because we don't have a family photo," which is pretty cute. Okay, so yeah, now in the film we're seeing Po making some more plans, and he's meeting with this lady, and again, it's let's propose a trade, let's do some dirty business, but also let's double cross everybody and kill them and keep the stuff that we want to sell. And he's like, oh yeah, all right, let's do it. And she proposes that they make this trade on like international waters. It'll work out better that way. So you've got him, and yeah, like I said, still wearing these gloves, still we're having this sunglasses. I mean, it's super iconic actually how he looks.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, it's like almost any of the like cutaway to this story, these are not like John Woo villains. This is more like a Zucker movie, kind of.
It
like,
is. He's like
or
a
like
cartoon.
Zoolander villains or something.
Yeah, it is a lot, which I think helps the tone of the movie, that they're kind of goofy
for sure,
over the top.
But also, you could maybe argue it's like some more ingredients that could kind of like push you into this is a kids movie, with just a little bit of adjusting. But yeah, I love the kind of evil woman here. I don't think I was familiar with that actress, but
I couldn't find anything. She looks like she could be Sammo Hung's sister. Like she's styled in a very similar way with like her hair and her facial features. It's very, very different. Like where in many of these movies we have like either an old granny or like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. So it's interesting seeing like a different kind of take on.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
kind of character.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, the more important piece of this puzzle is that she informs him that there could be somebody undercover working to take them out. So you see his head tilt again, and in the following scene, you're seeing him. Basically, they're unwrapping these. Ancient statues. They look like they're antiques, and he's being a little more cautious here. You're starting to see kind of the chess pieces move around, bringing Y in a little closer in his gang, because Y is talking about how he knows about these statues, and he's giving some kind of historical information. In the good subtitled version, I think he says, you're a scholar and a soldier to Jet Li's character, which is kind of cool. But the next major beat is, unfortunately, Mom. She didn't eat enough ants, I guess. And we have a very
happens.
It's one of those things, too much or too few.
Yep.
Same, sad.
Yeah, exactly. Strong dramatic beats from all here. You've got her getting worse and worse, and she's been taken to the hospital, and at night she basically has her final words with Inspector Fong and her son, and she hands this letter to Fong saying to take this to her husband, and that it's basically a plea so that they work together, and also take care of my son while I'm gone. And we see some really great emotional work from this kid. Xie Miao's,
dude, absolutely.
This quiet sadness. It's you can really get a strong sense of his character. He's not a typical kid that's gonna be completely swept through his emotions. He knows he has to stay strong for his dad and for his mom. But you're feeling for everybody here. It's really good.
No, completely. And man, the other thing that got me is the goodbye to Fatty little moment.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's like only in Hong Kong could this little kid tell his friends, like, "Oh man, I had to play this really dramatic role." And it's like, "Oh, what's your character's name?" Fatty. It's like, got to be more specific. What movie?
Yeah.
What month?
Which Fatty are you?
That's amazing. Oh man.
Yeah.
He's up there. He's one. Sorry, I was literally about to say he's one of the all-time fatties.
Yeah. All-time fatties. Hell yeah.
That's. Anyways, there's some kind of hashtag that would be more fitting this great work.
Yeah. Hashtag Marty out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
One of the all-time fatties.
But Ku sends he sends a message to his father, and he gets it through the pager. He sees that his wife has died, and he is stunned. He's taken out of his situation. You see him reliving his past that we've seen in the film, and this is earlier on you can see that the boss is really irritated with every little thing, and this pager's going off, and he's so fixated on it that he has no attention for anything happening around him. And actually they do a really kind of fun almost like a match cut with his memories and what's happening to him. So like Po splashes his drink at him to tell him to stop, and he's remembering them splashing water, with the bowls, and
it's also not just a kind of convenient reuse of footage we've already seen. I mean, so much of this memory montage are totally unique setups that you don't get anywhere else in the movie. I really appreciate Corey's kind of approach to all this.
Yep, he is snapped out of it, basically remembering his police chief saying, "Remember your identity," and that kind of brings him back to reality. But he's getting his ass beat by Po, and Blackie steps in to save him, basically. So things are pretty low right now for everybody in this story. And so now Fong has to get back to Hong Kong, and this is what you mentioned, Marty, the bitter farewell between friends. And anybody can kind of put themselves in that spot. You've experienced this in some way, to some degree. And the thing that I was kind of curious about, and I'm not complaining because it's an excuse for more action, but why, as a police inspector, does she have to get smuggled back into Hong Kong if she just traveled out of Hong Kong very easily? Either way, we see her meet up with somebody who is definitely familiar with her. He's probably on the opposite side of the law, but she's coming to him looking to get into Hong Kong. And this
and also, like, as far as like the rip from the headlines thing, there was a kind of rise at this point in time of like kind of somewhat sensationalist, like illegal immigration sort of stories in Hong Kong. And
can't identify with that.
Yeah, so that's
geez.
definitely an angle that ends up getting kind of pushed quite a bit with Xie Miao's character from kind of here on out.
Yeah, but we get some more great action, more wire work from the kid. Anita looks awesome in some really nice tight shots. Again,
this
I
whole
feel
table
like
sequence with her is so good.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Him doing the kind of splits kicks above her.
The split kick over. I'm definitely gonna make some gifts for this movie.
Yeah, it's so awesome. But yeah, now we're everyone's pulled back to Hong Kong, and slowly but surely these characters are being pulled together. And you have a moment where her partner basically says he had to report them showing up to the press. So now you get Ku also being kind of wanted by authorities because he's been smuggled in to Hong Kong, and him and his father are getting closer and closer. And there's a short bit of action where Fong and Y meet in her apartment, and you get some cool like silhouetted action here. Slowly but surely now we're seeing the truth being revealed. So very easily Poe is able to kidnap him. He's like, "Hey, your dad wanted me to pick you up." Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
okay.
Oh man, it's so funny how convenient some of this stuff is. But it leads to this insane scene. Something you would never expect to see in a film. It's like, okay, yeah,
not.
love that movie with that kid. Oh, okay, you want to see a kid's head push through plate glass table?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Crazy.
And then dude, I think his dad should kill him. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's this crazy standoff where you have father and son in the mix of this gang, and neither of them can give away their true feelings. And the gang, he is pushing it to the max. Not only does he push him through the plate glass table, he's like kicking him and he's gonna kill him. And it's only thanks to Y stepping in and basically choking his own son out that he saves his
it's
life.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely was not expecting that. And I also, after watching The Furious, where we see Xie Miao covered in blood in a fight, I wasn't expecting to see that in this movie.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love...
Remarkably, this movie is not about child trafficking.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is it's like, yeah, on paper, a dad choking his son out without explanation is pretty wild. But again, like at the speed of a great Hong Kong movie, it actually ends up being a kind of brilliant little bit of storytelling that, like you were saying, Matthew, actually is sort of laid out well in advance. Still very wild idea, but I don't know. As far as it goes, I think pretty brilliantly put together. Not that choking out your son should ever be called brilliant, but
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. I was thinking of like Tekken. In the Tekken games, there's always this, dad throwing his son into a volcano, dad launching his son into outer space on a rocket. It's like very Tekken coded vibes of
Totally.
Family Matters here. And so he basically, it seems like he's dead. And then the gang goes out.
Throw it into the garbage.
Yeah, they
put into a trash bag in the back alley.
Yep. They go out to eat.
Dude, it was rough. This feels like a mean dad's threat, right? I'll choke you and throw you in the
Choke
garbage.
out and throw you in a trash bag in the alley.
Yep. They go out to eat, and he's Y's stuck with the gang. He can't reveal his true feelings, but he wants to get back to make sure that his kid's okay. And when he does eventually find a way out and make his way back, Poe is there ready to call him out. And this breaks into another big action sequence, and what I believe is the longest alley in the world.
Yeah.
There's a garbage truck in the mix.
This side of like an on rails video game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now we see you can't hide anything anymore. I know you're a cop. But actually he takes it in a weird spot where Poe's like, well, you should have told me earlier. I can offer you even more money. It's not like I'm going to kill you now. He actually tries to kind of court him afterwards.
Which I think is such an important beat, because prior to this whole section, I think the audience could be asking, it's like, okay, if he even has suspicions, like Poe just takes people out kind of willy-nilly. But I don't know, this kind of reveals something, which is basically like, oh, I really like you. Like, can't we make this work?
Yeah. But we get a really awesome, like, drawn out sequence where this garbage truck is going to run them over, but he jumps onto it, and then it's like they're being dragged underneath, and they're trying to fight their way up and not get run over. It's pretty awesome. I love it. And it's in a complete downpour also.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's great blue lighting. And I know this exists in other eras, but I associate that specific kind of blue so much with 90s action movies.
Sure. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, I mean, I think the action does get to be a little bit kind of wild and fantastical, but the stretch leading up to that, I mean, is, I don't know, pound for pound is as strong as kind of anything of this era, I would say.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about Colin Cho and Ken Lo too much, and they're involved in this sequence too. The thing that I kind of like about Ken Lo is he seems more like a lightweight henchman. I'm used to seeing him as like kind of one of the heavies that's going to do a lot of cool stuff, and I mean he does eventually, but here you see him a little more panicked and kind of worried than you're expecting. Inspector Fong does show up, and she tries to stop them, and she ends up like flying into the truck while it's driving through the windshield. And
amazing.
I thought it was pretty funny. She parks in front of this gate, and she's driving the garbage truck out, but she like totally ruins her own car to escape. Just a little note that I noticed, but we finally see that the kid ain't dead, thankfully. He's hiding out on a boat on the docks, and it's Blackie. Blackie saves him.
Blackie's character,
so it's
a very sweet scene of the two of them together, and he like says call him uncle and stuff.
Yeah, so he gives him a little console. Did you guys notice that thing?
Oh, I guess I didn't.
Yeah, he gives him like some food, and he hands him a little console, like a portable console. It's a Turbo Express. So like,
dude,
cool. Like, the Turbo Graphics had like its Game Gear equivalent. But the thing that's so sick about the Turbo Express, besides it looks like crazy, but is you're just playing. It's like just a portable Turbo Graphics. You use the same cartridges. It's not a whole other library of games.
So it's more like a Nomad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Sega Nomad. Wow. Yeah, so he hands that, and there is a cartridge in it, so it's not like Danny and Rumble.
Did you spot the
no
spot the label?
I can see the cartridge in it, but I can't see it close enough.
Oh, dude! Imagine a crossover like the following year with Danny and Gungu. Like,
then Gu swinging Danny in the wheelchair around.
Yeah, in the wheelchair. Oh yeah, he's flinging him around.
Yes. And you find out Anita was actually an undercover
cop. Oh my God. Let's do it.
It's a crossover movie. My Father in the Bronx.
Yeah, dude, I want it. So yeah, we're setting up the pieces for the finale, and unfortunately they do get caught. Blackie is not much longer in this film. Poe and his men show up and they shoot him, and he's able to survive underwater. Actually, there's a
genuinely scary shot when he's like lunging out underwater, like, and you kind of think he's dead.
And he like spills.
But really sad, because honestly, Blackie Ko is kind of the perfect, sort of deadbeatish uncle that's like you really like. but kind of doesn't have all his stuff together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, you really feel the loss here.
Yeah. And Ku's able to survive by holding his breath underwater. And there's a really fun little beat
it
where
pays off that scene in the beginning.
Yep. When Blackie shows up at the boat, he's like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. You have this trick where you can hold your breath. You're going to teach me that someday." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll teach you." And then sadly when he passes, he's like, "Sorry, I'm not going to be able to learn your trick or whatever."
Yeah.
But another awesome out of text gift that I need from you, Matthew, is that panning shot of Ku talking on the phone while he's hanging off the boat. He's like in the half submerged in the water.
Yeah, half in the
just
water.
Casually talking on a cell phone.
Been there.
Yes, it's so awesome. Yeah, he tells his dad about this whole plan. So there's this meetup with all these, rich people or whoever, and he knows like he's gonna have like this extra information. So they actually kind of play it as like he's like the guy in the van with all the information, because he ends up
totally
seeing like these CCT like he knocks out the guy in the boat, and he sees like where all these bombs are placed, because Poe and his men have like 6 bombs that they're going to use in this finale to take out all of these guys just to get what they want.
And the insane way they're marked is that the CRTs have like Sharpie written on the screen itself to show where the bomb is.
Yeah, it's awesome. So he's calling to his dad and basically telling him every spot. And he's able to disarm.
Yeah, he's got a beeper, very 90s with this beeper.
He's able to disarm most of them, but there's like one he doesn't know about. And what we find out is that Poe is doubling his crosses, and that lady that we mentioned earlier has got a bomb on her, and he blows her up.
Yeah,
dude,
he blows her right up.
That shot of like the dummy blowing up is, dude, so effective. It was, it's a freaky little sequence.
It is, and there's a funny moment where there's like a head bouncing, a dummy head bouncing off the stage. I love that. So he's holding everybody up, and all these rich people are like starting to freak out, and all the action is breaking out here. Y shows up. He gets this double tonfa set up, and it's
with the nightsticks.
They're like, Jet Li, just go off, do your thing, because like Jet Li with weapons, something is, we do see it, but you always want to see more of it, and he looks awesome holding these tonfas.
There's some really extended takes in this sequence here. Yeah, just great.
And whenever he like the going with the wackiness, whenever he like puts it in the guy's mouth and then like flips him over with it in his mouth.
There's some
some Simon Yuen. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's like some sound effects like of like teeth getting knocked around in the guy's mouth, which is really fun.
Very, very, very over the top, and I love it. Yeah, we get a little more of the showdown with our guys. I love these 90s suits in these. Like, I don't actually love them. I think they look terrible, but I love like they just evoke such an era of cinema.
And honestly, as a kind of like fighting uniform or outfit on screen, just so damn good. Like I love what you were saying earlier, Carlos, about the little kids' uniforms. And I mean, I don't know, not to like add anything onto the pile in any direction as far as the Furious goes, but that was something that kind of crossed my mind too. I mean, at least for my eyes or whatever, it's mostly that kind of shutter speed thing. But if that is going to be the case, I don't know, some kind of strong contrast, like really help with the shape outfits are always awesome. And a little bit of kind of an unsung part of, action filmmaking. And I don't know if it's because you're like insecure about talking about, I don't know, a dude's outfit, and you'd rather like describe how great the kick is or whatever, but it's like the kick kind of only looks as good as I don't know what it's shaped in.
Well,
in some ways.
Yeah, and think about, again, I guess comic books. Every superhero has their own outfit, And it's a visual signature that really helps you identify what's going on, and it adds to the personality of the character that you're identifying with. So seeing Poe here with this suit coat, and it's got like almost like this red liner. It's almost like a paisley pattern red liner. And again, like I mentioned, the white gloves, having him in the middle of this choreography, and actually he's using the trench coat to kind of, I don't know, add like a character to his fighting style. And it's awesome. There's this moment where him and Jet are fighting each other, and like I said, he'll use this thing where he'll use his sleeves almost like a feint. He'll punch with his sleeves on, and then he'll pull his arms out of his sleeves to then attack like a central, like into the chest, like a open chest, I guess. And he'll do that, and then he'll pull back, and his pose is using basically like a superhero cape. He flips around, you see it like whip, as like basically a secondary animation that then adds to his quote unquote win pose. And I think that there's something really powerful about using all of that in a way where you're thinking about every single thing that makes this character who they are. And the 90s, like 80s 90s suits, you've got these like pointy shoulder pads, and you've got these I don't know, it just, everybody looks so complete, even if it's like not a superhero outfit. And I mean, you picture Jet Li in a modern era, and it's almost him always like wearing a suit, and I think
for sure
there's something to be said about that, where it's like the incongruity of seeing somebody perform high level martial arts in like, business attire is something really cool. Like if I were to make a fighting game, I always think about things like that too. Like I'd want like an astronaut, in a fighting game, because it's like it looks so cool. It would be crazy to see like a dude in an astronaut suit doing a flip kick. You want to see stuff like that, and I think that
why not? Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff in fighting games.
Yeah, and to speak to the Furious too, I do think that, again, to mention Brian, I think his visual is leaning towards that, and
for sure.
You can kind of plug,
totally.
Yeah, Joey Iwanaga's character and put him into this final sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally makes
I mean,
sense.
it's in the great lineage of suit fighting. Yeah. It's just Joey's suit is so well tailored, and
it's
and maybe
extremely
too, it's
modern, like thin, very like
slim it's
cut.
like we probably have this kind of like bias against noticing what might be so distinct about the 2020s, like right now.
For sure.
Yep, and Yayan's outfit too is, like we said, it's a nod to Bruce Lee.
Like we mentioned, that was like iconic.
He
looking.
is just.
The tracksuits
and a bow, like a long bow in the middle of a police station. That's so
amazing.
Awesome, and I think those are like some things that they got right. And we're not 100%. We're not on the defense about the Furious, and actually we've received a lot of great feedback on the episode, and we're so thankful. For people,
it was a popular episode.
Checking it out, and I'm just super excited for people to continue to enjoy the Furious. And it's starting to get accolades too. People are sharing things that it's being nominated for stuff, and individuals in the film being nominated for stuff. So bring it all. It's cool. Awesome.
Speaking of iconic weapons, the ending of this fight scene is it becomes a father-son team, and the son is the weapon.
Yeah,
they get this rope and ties it around Xie Miao, and he just starts whipping him around.
It's awesome.
It's so good. It's so
dude,
goofy.
amazing.
I absolutely love every bit of this scene.
Oh,
it's gonna
dude,
be hard not to make.
I love how
like
you're taking
20
that, because again, like I might have hinted at earlier, there was definitely a period of time where this was like a really divisive sequence among the kind of small, what felt like kind of a small cluster of, online kung fu fans or whatever. But I think it definitely should be seen in the great tradition of the kind of ingenious, like, what's the kung fu of calligraphy? What's the kung fu of eating rice? It's like, what's the kung fu of your little kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen like Tiger on the Beat, Shotgun on a Rope. Like these are things that for us, and I say this to anybody when I get the chance. This era of filmmaking can't exist anymore, and I'm so thankful that people were able to do this crazy ass stuff and be like, yeah, people are gonna like this. We want to entertain people, and we want to push the limits of what you're gonna accept, and it's awesome seeing him swing this kid around. It's you wanted more out of it in the film, like I feel like there could be a version of this movie that's more focused on their relationship in an action sense. And they don't, you see that they're both proficient martial artists, but they don't really talk about their martial arts at all in the film. It's just something that they do. And you could see almost like another version of a film where they have a specific martial arts style that, there's a lineage of, and, that plays a part in the narrative. But
I do also think this is a sequence where it's like Corey and Yuen Tak have kind of devised like every clever beat that you could pull off with this, and then have executed it. So it's probably better that we're kind of like left wanting and like imagining this happening like all over a movie, where like I wouldn't be surprised if their sensibility is like, oh my God, like we did it, like quick, like move on.
And the other thing that I think is really awesome about this is that we haven't mentioned that it's pretty much him the whole time. I think there's maybe one shot where it looks like there's a dummy. Most of the time it's Xie Miao on a string, being swung around.
He's definitely. I'm sure he's definitely got like so many wires keeping him from getting out of control. But yeah, he is. It is very much him getting whipped around.
Dude, it's so funny thinking of because in the interview that we've mentioned recently with Jet Li and his daughter, Xie Miao talks about taking this break from acting, but now you're kind of wondering, it's like if he was just being polite and was like, yeah, they kind of threw me around on a rope.
Yeah. His parents are like,
so
you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. But yeah, this sequence lands on another hostage situation with the kid. And there's a gun in the mix because Inspector Fong, she literally like flies into the scene, which is awesome. And he's holding the kid as a shield, and Jet, they're still tough, like Ku's like, you got to do what you got to do, almost like not shoot the hostage, but he's like, and he's able to get the shot off, and they're able to escape. And not just that, but like the whole place explodes.
Yeah, of course. Gotta have one more great explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Corey puts all this together, because for a second you're really thinking that Jet's character might meet like a tragic end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's really kind of hard to pull off, and to like genuinely feel that risk. And I don't know. Yeah, really great kind of final reach for this. I also love that there's, I don't know, the helicopter ladder just coming down into the middle of this interior. And honestly, it's enough. You're like, sure, yep, there's a helicopter up there. I don't know, it works. And then also because we pay it off, like when we see that wide shot from the exterior, it's pretty amazing.
It is. It's really great. And seeing like this like oil tanker, like Jet's character, this is a stunt double jumping off of the boat, and there's a huge explosion as he's diving off of this boat.
And so our family kind of our new family kind of gets reunited. There's kind of a bit of a joke where the kid basically is like, Auntie Fong is gonna be my new stepmom, and there's a cute little freeze frame of them laughing, which is very funny after all this death and destruction.
Yep.
But that's My Father is a Hero.
Good stuff.
Which I also love. The title says My Father is Hero.
Oh yeah,
in
the
the
opening
movie
titles.
itself.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, and we should mention too, like the original title of the film in Hong Kong is like Letters to My Father. So it's kind of, we're gonna go see Letters to My Father, which sounds like a heartfelt drama.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And then also, I don't think we've brought it up yet, but this then did get a later release in the West under the title The Enforcer.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've never engaged with that at all. So I believe
I don't think I have either.
I think Dimension is the people behind.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of new
I believe
score.
it is. But I'm
kind of
guessing
same approach
bringing it
that
in
we
the
used
same
to.
time as like all those million other movies in the early 2000s. But cool, yeah. No, My Father's a Hero. I think we kind of covered it. This ended up being longer than I was expecting, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
just such a fun movie.
Yeah, it feels like an older style Heroes 3 episode. We're just going
Totally,
through most
yeah.
of the film.
Any other final thoughts for wrap it up?
No, I mean, I definitely recommend, especially with people
Yes.
getting excited about the Furious, checking this older stuff out. And yeah, like I said, he's in a handful of films from this era. And yeah, kids, I don't know, maybe we will do an arc of kids doing martial arts, because there's a bunch of stuff, not just in Japan too. I could find other stuff too. And it's awesome seeing kids push to the limit in the similar way as we've seen in this film.
For sure.
And again, thanks to everybody that's really been responding to our not just our last episode, but our recent episodes. People have been saying really nice things, and we appreciate that.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. And it still feels like, I think, very surprising to all of us. And yeah, we're just very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you so much for checking out our show. If you enjoyed it, then you can check us out on your social media of choice. We're at Heroes the number 3 podcasts on all of them. If you have a amazing child actor kung fu movie that you would like to talk about, then send us an email at heroes the number 3 podcast@gmail.com. So, Carlos, what is our training for next week?
Well, we are jumping way back into the future again, and I want us to be talking about Blades of the Guardians.
Oh,
yes.
cool.
So this is the latest film
Oh, dude, what a treat.
from Yuen Wu-ping, and yeah, we're going to see Jet Li again.
Wow. All right. What's all kinds of new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until next week, we're taking a look at Blades of the Guardians. I'm Matthew.
I'm Marty.
I'm Carlos.
And we are the Heroes 3. Remember your training. Heroes 3 is part of the Mercado Brothers Podcast Network.